Hello. I was going to write a message on my Facebook and decided that I would do this later. So I have a huge success to share with you. It's after 8 o'clock at night and I'm still awake. My first full day home. So that's the biggest adjustment. 8:30 here would be 14 hours ahead, 8:30, 9:30, 10:30. So I would be just finishing breakfast, but now I'm getting ready to go to bed. And that's one of the biggest adjustments I notice when I get home. I wake up oftentimes at 2 o'clock in the morning hungry because that would be like right around lunchtime, 1 or 2 o'clock after lunch. So I just wanted to say it's been really nice to connect with everybody while I was traveling. The last 6 months have just like flown by like that. It's hard to believe that it's been 4 months since I left for the last trip and been on the road. And it's kind of surreal coming home, but it's not as much of an adjustment as it's been in the past. I shared with my friend Vicky not too long ago, we were talking about adjustment, and she was thinking that it might be a huge adjustment, and it's really not. And the difference is, for me personally, in the past when I traveled, it often had an element of escape. Like I was tired, I was stressed, I was working too much, I needed to just get the hell away and recharge. And when I left that energy, that's what I came back to. And so coming back to something I dreaded or wasn't looking forward to was really tired and exhausting. And then what I do now, and I'm not sure how you will interpret this or comprehend this, but I don't ever leave myself. So I make a real practice of staying present, paying attention to the moment, listening to what feels right, savoring my environment, being connected with the things around me. And I really feel that because of that, the adjustment coming home is not as dramatic or traumatic. So, hey, JC, who else? I see Johnny on here. So a couple of things. I left the hostel at 2 something in the morning, and there's a service called Grab, which is like Uber, and it's like 5 ringgit to get to the bus station. It would be like 20 ringgit with the taxi. So I get to the bus station and I see these 2 guys hurried up. One of them rushed off to do something, and the other one was right nervously, anxiously looking at his watch. And there were like 3 buses sitting there, none of which were ours. So he came over and asked me if that was the bus. And since my last time when I was there, remember, I got on the bus, went to the airport, went to the wrong airport. So I had to get a shuttle from the airport to the other airport. So this time I knew exactly which bus to be on so I could help him. And we had a great conversation. Now Raj and I are hooked up on Facebook. He's a pilot from Nepal. We just talked a little bit about values. And the adjustment for me coming back to America is the most wealthy, busiest, least present, least happy country that I visit. And since I left, I've only heard the word busy like twice. It's the first thing I'll learn when I come back here. So I met Roger's partner, got on the bus, got to the airport, got on the plane, met some more people on the plane, hung out with a man named Taylor coming from Japan to Denver. He's flying on last night from Japan to Denver to St. Louis to drive home to Nashville. So it's going to be more of a shock to his system than it will be to mine. Met a woman on the shuttle coming from the airport here and had this wonderful conversation. She's a spiritual advisor for people living in Amsterdam, and we were just talking about purpose and meaning of life and what kind of things she advises people with. For me, that's the hardest adjustment is when I'm traveling, I'm really open. I talk to everybody, and I have such marvelous connections with people. And when I come back here, people have a tendency to be really busy. I went out today to get some groceries, and it's been so long since I grocery shop. I'm like, I don't know what I need. So I made a list of essentials. And as I was leaving to come home, I thought of one other essential that I had kind of forgotten about. Let me show you. Okay, here we go. I'm taking the little thing off. Here we are. Yay! And I am actually trying a new beer. I met this man from the brewery, and he's a brewmaster. He started out working in labor there, and he's worked himself up to Finkel and Garf. And he is doing a promo today that if you buy one of their 6-packs, I was actually going in to buy one of their 6-packs of oatmeal stout, which I really like. And he had a display, if you buy a 6-pack, you get a free sample. So I told him I have like these 2 ranges of beer flavors. Like on one hand, I like Tecate, Mexican Tecate. And it has a real emotional anchor for me because that's the beer that I took when I went down rafting the Grand Canyon. In the Grand Canyon, you can only take cans, no bottles. And I found like a 12-pack or 24-pack of Tecate for like $4. Well, it was more than that. but it was such a refreshing beer. It's really light, it's clean. And so when I got my oatmeal stout, he recommended this. But I probably stood there talking to him for 15 or 20 minutes about purpose, team, leadership, the brewmasters that they've had that had certifications and background that just didn't work because of the connection or inability to pay attention to details. And I told him quite candidly, it's like, you're describing to me not the product and not the products that you make, but the passion you have for doing things well. And I'm like, if I don't know anything else about your company, I'm a customer. And that's the kind of connection that I really miss when I come home. So those of you that are friends, I hope we get a chance to run into each other and see each other. Those of you I met, JC, when I'm online sometime, give me a call. We'll catch up. Let me know what's going on in the Philippines or wherever you're wandering around the world. I just got a message from Brian, going to visit Freak Coffee in Bali. Awesome. And then I asked a question. So he's just right around the corner from visiting Yeoman, my friend that's an amazing healer. And so I got a message, I got a note back from Raj. And so the connections I have for Facebook, tell people that that's my primary reason I have Facebook, is it connects me to my world family. And so that's really important to me. So a couple of successes. Not only am I awake, I actually remember how to drive today. And a couple of other firsts. First thing in 4 months, I had to do dishes. Another thing that's the first, I can drink the tap water. Made my own coffee today. And so it's just the things that we do every single day on a routine basis that I haven't given a moment's thought to in the last 6 months, essentially, are the kind of things that come back. And what's changed for me is I've been vegetarian since the 1st of December because my body does so much better on that light, clean diet when I'm in hot, humid, muggy conditions. And of course, for 4 months, everywhere I was pretty much was hot and muggy and sticky and humid. So, and I've had hardly any dairy. And so my body just feels a lot better without the dairy. So as I'm shopping today, I'm shopping for foods that are healthy, nutritious, and filling, but that aren't meat-based or involving a lot of dairy. I did not come home with ice cream, but that will not always be the case. So I am a firm believer in moderation. So see if there's anything else. No, I'm really happy to be home. It feels different. I'm looking forward to new work in the future. And I'm really thinking about doing more work to help people get clear on purpose and meaning in life and priorities, because that's the thing that came up in every conversation, including talking to Raj from Nepal about balancing time with family with the pilot schedule being gone and doing all of that sort of thing. So I'm happy to be home. It's April. I'm spending a couple more days just chilling out, relaxing. I've got crocus blooming in my garden to welcome me home. And so after a couple days, after traveling for 6 months with the backpack, I'm looking around my house just like, what am I doing with this stuff? And so I've already started putting things into piles that have been here that don't really serve a function in my life. So I'm much more likely to just discard those things. So a quick note on that front. I got a message from a friend of mine, Derek Sivers, and I met him through the internet. He was a founder of a company called CD Baby. He sold it for, I think, $20 million, used part of the proceeds to create an endowment of sorts, helping to fund careers for artists, for musicians. And the way that I read that was they were the reason he was successful, so he was wanting to give something back to them. So he moved from New York, Manhattan, I think, to Singapore. And he said when he sold the business, I read an article that he wrote, he said he sold the business and he had another one ready to launch. But the night before the launch, he realized, wait a minute, I'm doing the same thing again differently, and I really need time off. And so he decided what he really needed was a system reboot, something completely different. And so he moved to Singapore. Singapore was very similar to Manhattan. So he wound up spending the last 5 years in New Zealand. And New Zealand was lovely, painful to leave, but lovely. And he realized it was time to go have a new experience. And so he uprooted and went to Oxford in England. And he said the reason he chose Oxford is it's a place that's always appealed to him, but it has a whole different kind of intellectual stimulation to it. And the thing that's really fascinating for me, he, after 5 years in New Zealand, moved to Oxford with 3 suitcases. 3 suitcases. So you think about that, what kind of stuff we have in our life. America's like the capital of stuff, and it's the capital of buying more. If you're not happy or you're not feeling good, you go buy something to try to feel good. So reduce that down to, if you had essentials in your life that are really important, what are the 3 suitcases worth of stuff that you would take? So, all right, well, I'm home, happy to be home. I'm hanging in there for about another hour, getting myself back on a normal sleep cycle. So again, thanks everybody for being in touch. Thanks for sharing your enjoyment of my trip and the pictures and photos. And, you know, if you're really itchy for me to take more pictures, I will take another trip in the future just for you. Not. But love everybody. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.